It is great to be here, Michiganders. Are you going to make sure that we elect Abdul El-Sayed to the United States Senate? Just a little louder so they can hear you on the other side of the state. Are you going to elect Abdul El-Sayed? With your help, he's going to win. Do you want a senator who is going to fight every day against this corrupt and lawless Trump administration? Do you want a senator who's going to spend 24/7 ending this illegal war against Iran? Do you want a senator who's going to take on a lawless ICE operation? You know, March last year in Maryland, there was this fellow by the name of Kilmer Abrego Garcia. He was abducted by Trump's ICE forces. He was driving with his 5-year-old son, who has autism. And they disappeared him to a gulag in El Salvador. And there were a lot of Democrats, even pundits and others, who said, sort of, leave that alone. Let's just focus on other issues. We don't want finger-in-the-wind Democrats.
Amen.
And so I got on an airplane and went down to El Salvador to demand the release of Kilmer Abrego Garcia. And the Trump administration said he would never set foot back on American soil. He is back on American soil. With his wife and his mom and his brother. Make no mistake, they're still engaged in a political persecution against him. So this is ongoing. But I want someone in the United States Senate who is not thanking ICE, but joining us in taking on ICE. But you know, it's not enough for us to tell people just what we're fighting against. We need to tell people across Michigan and across the United States what we're willing to fight for. And Abdul is doing that. Because we need somebody who's going to join our caucus to fight the billionaire class. We need somebody who's willing to take on powerful special interests who are trying to rig this economy against all of us to lift themselves up while they push other people down. We need someone who's going to carry on that fight. We need someone who is going to carry on the fight to end corruption of money in politics. And when you look at this Senate race, there's only one candidate who is standing for all those things, and that is Abdul. Are we going to elect Abdul to the United States Senate? Now, all of you know we have a broken healthcare system. We have a completely broken healthcare system. And time is over for tinkering around the edges. In Abdul, we have a doctor who understands that our dollars should be going for patient care and to help and make sure we have prevention, rather than to all the middlemen and administrative costs and huge profits for hedge funds that are gobbling up hospitals around the country. We need to be for Medicare for all. And he is the only candidate in this race who understands that. He's also the only candidate who's really willing to stand up to the big corporations that are building data centers. These are corporations that want all of you to foot the bill through higher electricity prices. I have a simple proposal I've introduced. It's called Power for the People, meaning that you should not be paying to power the data centers that are owned by the richest companies on the corporation. We should not let that happen. And Abdul's not going to let that happen. Abdul recognizes that we've got a very rich 1% of Americans who is working every day to corner the markets and working every day to drive their profits up as they drive your costs up. The costs of groceries, the cost of gas, the cost of rent and mortgages. We need somebody who's willing to take on those entrenched economic interests and bring your costs down, not up through the roof. That is Abdul. And Abdul's the only candidate in this race who understands that we need a wealth tax on billionaires so we can have more shared prosperity in the United States of America. And Abdul understands that we should be investing your taxpayer dollars in schools and healthcare here at home, and not sending billions of American taxpayer dollars to the Israeli Netanyahu government as they continue to wreak havoc in Gaza and on the West Bank. Your tax dollars should not be going for that purpose. You should invest those tax dollars right here at home. Right here at home. Rather than send them to a government that right now is headed by someone for whom there's a warrant out for war crimes. That's not where your taxpayer dollars should be going. Now let's talk about where this race is. Do you know how we know that those powerful special interests and the billionaires, you know how we know they're afraid of Abdul? It's now up to $60 million. $60 million of outside super PAC money coming into this Democratic primary here in the state of Michigan. Let me ask you, are you going to allow outside interests to buy the votes of Michigan? Hell no! Hell no! This is not charitable giving.
That's right. Come on, make it plain.
All of that $60 million is designed to help elect a candidate who those groups think will do their bidding, not the bidding of the people of Michigan. And that's a lot of money. So they are very afraid of Abdul. We need to make sure we have a candidate who believes in people power, not PAC power. As Camilla said, some of that is coming in from the big pharma, because big pharma wants to continue to be able to raise the rates of prescription drugs while all of us have to eat the bill. By the way, all of you make a very good investment through the National Institutes of Health to help develop cures and treatments to diseases that impact all of our families. But you shouldn't have to pay twice. You shouldn't have to pay that investment in research and then watch as Big Pharma turns around and charges you more than they charge anybody else in the world. That is just not right. And so they are spending money in that way. Now about 30 million of those dollars are being spent by AIPAC. And as Camilla said, that's because AIPAC wants somebody who's going to continue to vote to send your taxpayer dollars, billions of taxpayer dollars, billions of taxpayer dollars to the Netanyahu government in Israel. And enough is enough. And so the question for all of you and all of us who love our country is, who is going to be the Democratic nominee here in Michigan for the United States Senate? And I think we want somebody who understands clearly what is right for Michiganders and what is wrong for Michiganders. And we also want somebody who recognizes the big divide in our country is not right versus left. It's the folks at the tippy top, the top 1%, and everybody else. Now, here's what we know. What we know is that all those people who are spending tens of millions of dollars of outside money in Michigan, what they really want to do is divide people against one another while they make out as bandits.
Yeah.
They want to pit people against each other based on race or ethnicity or religion. In other words, they want us all fighting among ourselves instead of fighting to take on the big money interests that want to rig our economy.
The real enemy.
That's what they want to do. And so we cannot let them do that.
That's right.
We need to continue to unite across races and religions and ethnicities for the candidate who represents the values that all of us love, who really wants to make sure that we not only take on a lawless Trump administration, but that we also advance an agenda for working people. A candidate who's been endorsed by the UAW, and by National Nurses United, a candidate who we know is going to stand in solidarity with unions and working people against the forces that want to strike us. It's pretty simple. We want someone who's going to be there for working people in Michigan, and of course he'd be a United States Senator, so for working people all over the country.
And a new Senate Majority Leader.
And we need to make sure we need to make sure that we have somebody who understands that the status quo is unacceptable. You know, it's not enough just to go back to pre-Trump days. That's just not enough. I mean, this country elected a convicted felon to change the status quo, and he's changing it in all the worst ways. But we need to change the status quo in all the best ways for working people. And so, Michiganders, let me ask you this question in closing. Because we're counting down the days. People have already begun to vote by mail. People are now going to early voting. We have to make sure that every minute of every of the remaining days before the election counts. So, are we going to knock this out for Abdul El-Sayed? I can tell from this room that you're ready to do this. That you're ready to do this. That you're ready not only to send somebody who's going to fight a lawless Trump administration, but somebody who's willing to shake things up in Washington. Are you going to do that? Someone who's going to shake it up. Someone who's not afraid to rock the boat. We need more people willing to rock the boat in Washington, D.C.